Where were we last week? What did we talk about? What was the main idea of last week? Sarah and Abraham, what kind of relationship? Marriage, yeah, husband-wife relationships. All right, now here's the thing. I want to kind of come back around, put a cap on a little bit of that, and then we're going to jump into the next part of our family series, okay? A couple things that we talked about last week were marriage principles. Those are some good things for you to file away, okay? Because I understand that right now marriage isn't even on most of your radar. Dating is, or it soon will be, if it's not already. So how do we transfer what we talked about last week into that world? You know, because here's the thing, ladies, I want you to understand this clearly. There is no such thing biblically as a submissive girlfriend, okay? So when the Bible says, wives, submit to your husband, that is not talking about you guys in dating relationships, okay? There's no such thing as a girlfriend that submits to her boyfriend, okay? Now, fellas, here's another thing I want you guys to learn, is that you, while you're dating, you're not in a role of spiritual leadership yet. This is where you practice it. This is where you start to learn it. You get those skills that you need for it. You will not lead your girlfriend the same way that I lead my wife and kids, okay? So we can tone that down just a hair. Right now, this is the time where you start to learn how to operate within these things. And a great way for you to practice how to love and honor and respect is how you treat your mom and how you treat your sisters, okay? That's where you start. So I want to come back around and kind of put a bow on that, because I feel like that might have got lost in translation a little bit last week. So this is just to help you kind of frame that a little bit better. All right. Now we're going to jump into today, and when we talk about the Bible eras, what era are we in? You know? Yeah, the patriarch era, right? Old guy. All right. Old guy emoji. We're in the patriarch era, and the patriarch is a male head of family. All right. And when you look at the Bible, if you read through the Old Testament, you see three names that pop up all the time. What three names are those? Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. Okay, Jacob becomes Israel. That's where the nation begins. All right. So that's who we're talking about. We're talking about these patriarchs, these guys that started God's people, started the nation of Israel. Okay. So we talked about Abraham last week. We're going to talk about Isaac today. We're going to talk about Jacob next week. So we're going to hit all the patriarchs. Now the value that we're focused on right now is family. Okay. So all of this has to do with family dynamics. And the way we word that at the Kirk is we say God works through families. A transformed life is reflected in the health and vitality of both the family and the church. All right, so where are we going with this today? I want you to get your Bibles out. If you don't have one, come grab one up here. They're not just decoration. And we're going to go to Genesis 27. All right, so go to Genesis 27. We're not going to read the whole chapter, but we are going to jump in and out of it quite a bit today. Because the issue that we want to talk about today with Isaac, with this patriarch Isaac, is the idea of parent-child relationships, the tension that exists between teenagers and their parents, or really just kids in general and their parents. There's this idea, and you'll see in this story, really if you look at the story of Isaac and Rebekah and their kids, there's this feeling of they're playing favorites. So what I want to do, the point today, is we're going to see what's up with parents treating their kids differently. Okay? There's one main issue that just is so relevant to you guys from this story. It's going to be awesome. So let's go ahead and pray. Let's get focused. And you guys, if you would, while I'm praying, pray honestly that my body will hold up. Because right now I'm feeling like it's about to go. All right, so let's pray. Daddy, we love you, and we thank you for your word. Thank you just for this time that we have together. I pray that you use it to transform us, that you would use this time to help these students understand just the dynamic that's going on at home with mom and dad. And God, I just pray for wisdom today, that we could leave this place transformed, and that our families are healthier because of what we hear today from your story. We love you, Jesus. In your name, amen. So what do you do if you feel like mom or dad just does not trust you? Or what happens when one parent asks all the questions and the other parent gives you all the freedom? What happens if you get different advice from different parents about something like, say that your boyfriend is pressuring you, or you're getting different advice about what girl you should take to prom? Mom has a different take than dad on that, and it's like, what do you do with that when there's different advice from different places? What happens when you're with a different parent each weekend? See, all families have very different dynamics. And some of you, this is your reality. It's different words of wisdom, it's different influence, it's different amounts of freedom, it's different from different parents, and it can seem like one might be favoring you, or it can seem like one might be favoring one of your siblings over you. But then the opposite is also true, that we tend to gravitate towards one of our parents. Like we kind of go to one first all the time. Like this was true for me growing up. I always went to my dad first for everything because he'd always say yes and he wouldn't ask any questions. He'd say, yeah, cool, good idea. I would always go to my dad first. And then that started to change when my mom became the getaway driver for one night we went toilet papering houses. So then I was like, okay, I'm gonna start asking her some stuff. So there was just this gravitational leaning towards one parent over the other because I figured, well, this one's gonna give me what I want with less friction, right? This one's gonna tell me what I want to hear with less friction. So I'm obviously gonna go that way, and then there's tension from the other side, okay? See, in a family though, no matter the dynamic, you get to practice and receive mercy and grace. You get to be merciful to the mom that is just a helicopter and doesn't ever let you do anything. You get to practice grace to the dad who may not be always there or always engaged in what you're doing when you're trying desperately to get his attention or his affirmation. You get to practice mercy and grace in a family, no matter the dynamic that you're in. You get to discover, this is great, what it's really like for you to screw up again and again and again, and then run headfirst into unconditional love. I mean, that's how it's supposed to work, at least. So, in the story today, we're going to unpack this episode where we see some tension between parents and kids that I really think most of us relate to pretty closely. All right, so let's go to Genesis chapter 27 and we're starting verse 3, or verse 2. Let's start in verse 2. Genesis 27, 2. All right, here we go. Isaac said, he's talking to his son Esau. Isaac said to Esau, I am now an old man and don't know the day of my death. Now then, get your equipment, your quiver and bow, and go to the open country to hunt some wild game for me. Okay? Notice this dynamic. Who's talking to who? Isaac's talking to Esau. And what does he say to him? He says, get your gear, go out in the open country on your own. Okay? Have you ever been allowed out into the open country on your own at this point in your life? Like, what was it like the first time you ever drove on the highway? Huh? Any stories from that? What did it feel like? How many of you have? You like that? You remember that first moment you got to drive on the highway by yourself? What was that like?
Confident.
Yeah? Good. What else?
That's basically what it is. You just gotta feel confident in yourself that you won't get into any car wrecks.
Yeah, confident and wishful, right? Yeah, well, yeah, but like I think that isn't that in the back of your mind most of the time? Like when you start to merge that first time, there's like a Walmart semi cab, you're like, oh crap, I'm done. I'd rather get my helicopter license than this. You know, like there's a lot of pressure on that. You know, when you go out in the open. What about how many of you guys you've been able to cross state lines on your own? Yeah. How's that? What was that like? I mean, that's kind of a big step when you get to leave not just your neighborhood, but you get to leave the state. What kind of emotions are wrapped up in that? It's free. Yeah. Where'd you go? Arkansas, probably? Yeah. That's like an hour and a half away. But still, it's a new state, you know? But it's like, I'm in another region of the country. Like, there's so much freedom tied up in that. You know, or think about this. Think about that first date that you had. What was that like? You know, maybe the fellas, you're rolling up to the girl's house for the first time. What do? You better not have honked. If you honk, you get out, you go ring that doorbell, and you stand there, right? But I mean, think about that first date when it's like that first time when you probably go see a movie because that's the easy one where you can sit for 2.5 hours and not talk to each other. You know, that's a great date. Or ladies, you know, just that. Well, I mean, that first date you have just the anticipation, like, where are we gonna go? What are we gonna do? Oh my gosh, McDonald's, great choice. You know, like there's just so much. There's a lot to this idea of being out in the open country on your own, like Esau, when you get to do all of these major milestone things for the first time ever. And like you said, Morgan, there's freedom in that. Mom doesn't have to drop you off at the bowling alley anymore. You get to go on your own. You know, Dad is not the one that is going to get pizza for a slumber party. Like, you can choose your own. Like, and those seem like little things, but it's like the more you get, it's like the more free you start to feel. See, for me in high school, well, no, not that one. In high school, I started this thing called the Road Crew at my high school, and we logged over 6,000 miles of away game travel. All right, we went to everything, like football, soccer, softball, baseball, academic, decathlon, water polo, track, everything. Literally, I'm not making that up. We went to every away game that our school had. We got on the road and we went, and my parents just let me go. This is in Texas, all right? So I got to drive like from Houston to Austin for soccer games, you know, and just they let me just go all over the state. So it was just this great, like, empowering freedom. Like, oh my gosh, I'm 15 and Mom and Dad are letting me drive across Texas, you know, to go to these games and stay out all night and drive home all night and it was amazing stuff. And in the same way, we see that Isaac gave Esau a lot of freedom in this story to go out on his own. But there is more to this dynamic from the story. And I want you to go to Genesis 27:5 now, okay? We're going to pick up the other half of this family. Let me get somebody to read 5, 6, and 7. Who wants to do that? Go for it.
Now Rebekah was listening as Isaac spoke to his son Esau. When Esau left the open country and hunt game and bring it back, Rebekah said to her son Jacob, "Look, I overheard your father say something to your brother Esau. Bring me some game, prepare me some tasty food to eat, so that I may give you my blessing in the presence of the Lord before I die."
Okay, let's pause. So who do we got? Who are the characters in the story now? We got Isaac talking to Esau, and then we got who? Rebekah talking to Jacob, all right? So we got Dad going for one kid, Mom going for another kid. We got different dynamics here, okay? So Esau, he's already out. He's already given the freedom to leave. Jacob and Mom are having this powwow, all right? And there's a whole lot to the story about just what's going on here. But I want you to just to frame this way, because what happens next, I think, is another really intentional thing that a lot of us experience with our parent relationships. And it's not always going to be Mom doing this. It could be Dad doing this. You know, it's either or, but this happens a lot. So check this out. She says this, "Now my son, listen carefully and do what I tell you. Go out to the flock and bring me 2 choice young goats so I can prepare some tasty food for your father just the way he likes it. Then take it to your father to eat so that he may give you his blessing before he dies." So do you see the difference here? Isaac says, "Esau, go out in the open country on your own. Bring me back something to eat." But for Jacob, it's, hey, hold on. Let me tell you exactly what to do, exactly what to say. Bring this to me so that I can do this for you. And then, after it's all done, then you go take it to Dad. Okay? Here's a couple questions to illustrate this. Did your mom or dad ever make your science fair project for you? Anybody? Or like an art fair project? Mine did. My dad made this like huge dinosaur diorama with like a paper mache lava volcano thing, and I cut out little dinosaurs out of paper and glued them on the grass. And I got like 3rd place because they could tell I didn't do it. You know? But like that's what some parents do. They want to do the project for you. Or what about this? Do you ever feel like you're rescued too often? Just think about it. Or I don't know, is college figured out for you already? Like they know where you're going to go, they know what you're going to join, they know what you're going to major in, and it's kind of like, but I don't want to be an astrophysicist. I don't want to be in that sorority. I don't want to be in. I don't want to go there. This even happened to me less than a year ago. All right, when we lived in our old house, we had in our kitchen, it was just walled up all the way across. I wanted to knock a hole in the wall and put like a window in so you could see into from the living room. I don't know how to do that because I know there's a pipe going down the middle and I know there's like studs in there and all that. I didn't know how to do it. All I knew was I wanted to do it. So I called my dad up, asked him to come help me being the key, help me learn how to do this. But come to find out, when I came back from work the very next day, it was already finished. I was like, I wanted to learn how to do that. Like, I didn't want you to do it for me. I want to learn how to like do some demo and frame up a wall and move pipes around. I want to learn that so that I have a skill to take care of my family better later on when I need to do it again. Now I still don't know how to do it, but we had a hole in our wall and it was great. I got to paint it. Thanks, Dad. 33. You know, like it was hard because it was just kind of like, hey, let me go. Let me have this responsibility. Let me have this freedom to do this and learn from this. See, Jacob, it seems like he didn't have much freedom here. And the main parent-teenager issue that I see in this story is about independence. And I think that's what a lot of you guys struggle with, because I texted out a couple questions to some of you and to a lot of parents, and it all came back the exact same about what the major source of tension is at home, and it's this idea of independence. It's this idea of what do we do with the freedom that we're given, and then the parents are like, how do we get them to be more responsible with the freedom that we give them, you know? And like some of the responses back are typical. It's nothing abnormal. Like the struggle that you guys have and the tension that you guys have with mom and dad, it's not abnormal. Because what's happening is you guys are becoming adults and you're wanting that independence and that freedom and all of that, but then mom and dad are kind of looking at it from a different angle, and there's that clash there as you're figuring this stuff out, okay? So I want to talk about independence. I need some feedback from you guys. What does tension in this area sound like at home for you? Like what's a typical argument or a typical source of conflict when it comes to the idea of independence? Yeah.
I'm going to be 18 this year.
Yeah.
And I still don't have my license.
Yeah.
Because my dad doesn't think that I'm ready.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and you can't get your license as a minor if you don't have a parent guardian to sign off.
Yeah. So they're a little gun shy on giving you that freedom and that wide berth to be able to drive yourself somewhere. Yeah. Okay, so that's a good example. Yeah. What are some other things? What's like a typical conversation you have surrounding this? What does it sound like? Yeah.
There's kind of like, friends, like I avoid confrontation asking, so create like a problem, like there's just plans, and like they don't have enough cars to be like driving my sister to get me, my dad and my stepmom. And so there's always like a problem there, so then I realized last second because I put it on, it's even worse.
Yeah. How many of you guys use that tactic? You know it's going to go bad, so you just wait till the last second to ask. And then it's like, well, it's going to be bad anyway. Might as well just blow it all up with a little time to resolve it, right? Yeah, we all do that. That's good stuff. What are some other dynamics with this at home?
Like how I spend my time working versus, maybe watching Netflix show once in a while.
Mhm.
I
Every once in a while.
yeah.
You binge, you know it.
But yeah, like, so
Yeah.
after you have like something you probably should be doing next week, I'm working on it.
Mhm.
A week later, it's coming.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. No, that carries on. It's like we have our own timeline of doing things, right? And it's like you get pressure like crazy. Like you got to get this done. I know it's due. I'm gonna do it the night before. You know, that happens all the time. Yeah. Pierce, you texted me something. It's about curfew and like what did you say? It was like questions. Something about getting questions.
So question like what we're doing, like technically I was texting where I am. So like why do I have to do that? Instead of just trust me more?
Yeah, so it becomes an issue of trust. It's like, why do I need to text you that now I'm at the gas station? You know, now I'm leaving. Now I'm at Chick-fil-A. Now I'm like, is it kind of like that? Like it becomes an issue of trust. That's what independence, that's where the rub is, yeah.
It's kind of similar to that. Like, be at home, like by myself,
Uh-huh.
and literally, to the dot, every 30 minutes, are you okay? And then if I don't respond, like, I'll be like,
I'm fine, but I'm not gonna tell you
and
that.
then she'll like call me and like, are you okay? Like, are you dying? And I'm like, I'm saying this 30 minutes.
Do you ever want to answer and be like, I'm so glad you called? Oh!
And then she called at like at midnight, like 1, and I'm like, and then she's like, why didn't you respond? Like, we have a sleep date.
Yeah. Yeah. It's past my bedtime that you set for me. Yeah, okay, well, yeah, so what do you guys, what does independence mean to you? Like, if you were to say, this is what it looks like for me to be independent, what is that? I mean, I heard some key words, it's kind of like trust and freedom. But when you say freedom and you say trust, what do you mean by that? Yeah. Okay, trusting you to call your own shots and to be responsible to finish. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so managing your own time instead of getting it managed for you. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I agree with that, and at the same time, it's like weird, but to be like allowed to make your own mistakes.
Yeah.
Because I mean, we're all gonna go do things and
Yeah.
it's not gonna work.
Yeah.
But like, parents have a tendency to be like, that's not gonna work. Do it this way.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, I don't know something. Let me learn myself
Right.
that it's not gonna work.
And how many of you guys, you feel that a lot? Most, yeah, I see a lot of heads nodding. Here's the deal. As a parent, that is the hardest thing for us to do. You know, because I'm looking at my sweet little girls and I'm like, no, dummy, don't do that. You know, like, I've lived through that. I've done that already. Learn from me, please. Like, we are just desperate that you don't make the same mistakes that we do. You know, but you're right, though. They do need to have that freedom to fail. You do need the freedom to fail or to figure out, hey, you know what? I can drive to Arkansas by myself. I can do this by myself. I can get my own homework in on time. I'm fine going downtown taking pictures at night. Like, I'm fine climbing up buildings, you know, and taking sweet Instagram shots like Aiden's superhero origin story is what it looked like. I mean, I'm fine. Like, you just want to be able to say, I'm fine, I'm fine, right? But here's the thing. When you talk about, you know, wanting to make your own mistakes, I want to go back to the road crew. Because it wasn't always just joy and merriment as I trekked around the state on my own free will. Okay, there was a time that there was a weekend tournament being held at A&M, and so we went, like road crew, we went and wanted to watch, and then my parents came too because it was only like an hour and a half away. It was a big deal, and we, I told my mom that I wanted to stay overnight so that I could catch the early morning game, which totally legitimate since I'm, you know, head of this traveling fan base, right? And so I used that as my leverage, but really my motivation was my girlfriend at the time was also there, and I wanted to pretend that we were in college already and have this freedom to just stay up all night and go get tacos at 3 in the morning and whatnot. And I just wanted that. I wanted that kind of freedom. But I did not want to talk to my parents about that because I knew what they would say. All right? My mom saw right through what I was saying. We got into the biggest fight that we had ever been in my life. Never got that bad since. Like, that was the one and done. Like, you do this again, I'm going to end your life kind of thing. And I was like, okay, I'm stepping back. But the thing is that she saw right through my lie, and she cried all the way back to Houston because I demanded my right for independence when really it was just deception and dishonesty. See, Esau, he was given freedom to go out on his own. He was a hunter. He said, go out in the open country. He had the freedom to go on his own where he wanted, when he wanted. And I wonder, though, if some of you in this room, You might be like Esau, but you might have so much freedom that your idea of independence is a little bit skewed. We're like, I don't know, just take that for what it is. But here's a good takeaway for that. It's from 1 Peter 2:16. This is the ESV translation. It says, live as people who are free, not using your freedom as a cover-up for evil, but living as servants of God. And guys, that's what I did when I went to that tournament at A&M. I used my freedom as a cover-up for sin. I used it as an opportunity to lie to my parents to get what I wanted, to do something I know I should not have done. And man, was there fallout. But I had the freedom to. I just abused it. See, Jacob, he had the freedom to not be responsible for anything. Esau had freedom to go where he wanted. Jacob had freedom to not be responsible. And I wonder if any of you feel like all your decisions are being made for you. Or home is kind of like this. This is a tweet from Sandy Rhodes. He says that scene in Captain Phillips where the Somali pirate says, look at me, I'm the captain now, is my model for parenting. Like, I wonder if it feels like that at home for you, or it's just like mom and dad do not want to hear what you have to say. It's just, look at me. I am in charge. You do what I say. I mean, I wonder if there's that tension, if there's that dynamic at home for some. See, independence is a big deal, especially as you guys are becoming adults. And to earn it, you got to prove that you're trustworthy. Okay? So how do you respectfully gain more of this independence that you so desire? Well, accusations and door slams probably aren't going to help your case too much. But what it is it's proving that you're trustworthy and also respectful. So you want to hang out more, you want to have more freedom to go out later at night or longer or with more people or more often. If you want that kind of independence, a way to respectfully earn that from mom and dad, get home on time. Get home early. That'll blow them away. If they say you got to be home at 10, get there at 9:45. Seriously, do it once, it changes everything. Prove that you can be trustworthy in something as simple as getting home on time. It's okay, you're not going to miss much. All right? If you want to do something like, I don't know, redecorate your room or rearrange your room or whatever, don't be a slob. Hang your clothes up, throw your pizza boxes away. You know, that kind of stuff. Don't leave like old cereal bowls under your bed where they start growing new cereal. Throw that stuff away. Be clean, all right? Be responsible there. Or if you want a new phone, stop breaking the ones that we give you. All right? Every one of you have cracked screens. If you want a new one, stop doing that. It's not used for target practice. Hey, look at that. Did you get a new one? No, okay. Come on, way to go. But here's the thing. I want to read this. This is Colossians 3:20. Check this out. It says, children, do what your parents tell you. This delights the master to no end. But guess what? There's another command right after that in verse 21. It says, parents, don't come down too hard on your children or you'll crush their spirits. See, there's a tension in nearly every parent-child relationship. That's why we have these back-to-back commands in Colossians. You got to learn responsibility in all things, guys, because that's what independence is being responsible for yourself, being able to make your own call, being able to follow through with that, being trustworthy and respectful in that. Be responsible in all things, not just the things you want to be responsible with. Like, you can pitch a fit about, I want to be able to go to New Life on my own, and just slam a door. It's like, no, just be responsible with the little things at home. And then you'll get the freedom to do that, what you want to do. It's not hard. I mean, it's hard to do in practice, but it's not hard from our perspective. Okay? And that's where the tension is. But I want to give you some wise words from Jesus. Look in Luke 16. If you get your Bibles, go to Luke 16. It's towards the back. So just grab about 2 inches of Bible and flip it, and you'll be close. Okay? Luke 16. If you got a green one, when you find it, tell us what page it is. 1365. Luke chapter 16. 1365. This is awesome. This is really good wisdom from Jesus about this idea. Okay, Luke 16, starting in verse 10. He says, whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. And whoever is dishonest with very little will also be dishonest with much. So, if you haven't been trustworthy in handling